Don, how's the heart after that?
Yeah, well, it survived. It was Collingwood probably, I think, deserved to win the game, to be honest. But to our guys' credit, we kept plodding away in the last half and found a way to give ourselves a chance to at least tie it up at the end there.
You've been involved in a game like that where you're 50 points down, get within 3, they kick 4 goals clear again, then you come again and get a goal after the siren.
Nah, it looked like it was, when at three-quarter time there was a fair bit of belief in the group. They felt like, the third quarter had sort of turned it. After them getting out to 50 points earlier in the third quarter, they probably felt like they were starting to get some control. And to Collingwood's credit, they came out in the start of that last quarter and kicked 3 quick ones, and after we'd kicked a couple early, and you sort of felt like, well, maybe that's done, and then we came back and kicked the next 3, and they hit the post a couple of times towards the end, so it was a close affair. But as I said, I think at the end of it, Collingwood with a better team, the numbers would suggest that. But we grabbed 2 points.
Do you think you were gone?
Oh, no, I always, I tend to always think we're a chance. That's probably just the way I think about the game. So, I sort of encourage the players to keep believing and keep hanging in there. And, sometimes it changes. And to their credit, they were able to give themselves an opportunity at the end. And as I say, we got the 2 points.
And Mitch McGovern, what's to say about Mitch McGovern to take a mark like that with the second left and kick the goal after the siren? Yeah,
look, it was fantastic for him. I mean, I think he's gone back. He's 30 straight in front. So it was, but in those situations, it's probably it's so unique, and he never would have experienced it before. So to go back and then finish the goal, sort of got that moment of excitement followed by that moment of it's a draw, and then you end up with this sort of interesting dynamic within the group, because it's you get 2 points but you haven't won. So but it was it was good for him to stand up at that point. Obviously take the mark was a highlight, and then to finish the goal was significant under game pressure.
Do you have mixed feelings about the start of the game and the way you performed to half time, or is it a sort of overwhelming feeling pride at the way that you finished?
Yeah, it's probably not only the draw, but probably how the game was played out. To be honest, I think when we were smashed in the contested possession today, it was minus 30 at half time. I think it ended up about minus 50, and that's certainly not the way we want to play. And that gave us some problems, because it was our inability to probably keep the ball ahead of the stoppage early. We were winning our share of the stoppages, but the ball was rebounding out, and they were going full length of ground to score on us, which has been quite opposite to how we've been playing recently. So that was pretty disappointing, and we'll review that pretty thoroughly and work out what created that. But as I say, credit to Collingwood, they came and they played a really strong brand.
What's your initial thoughts on what created that?
It's always an interesting one, because are we talking about a mentality? Are we talking about a letdown from the previous game? I'm not a great believer in those things. I think the best teams and the best sportsmen just continue to compete to a really high level, and we were off today in that area. So that'll be a good discussion with our group on Monday, tomorrow it is, about what created that, because we need to understand what it was, because it wasn't just 1 or 2 players, it was across the group. But the pleasing part is, at half time we had a conversation and said, this is what's happened, what are we going to do about it? And we saw some real resilience from some individuals who had been poor in the first half, and they put their hand up and own that, and then they were able to come out and be more productive in the second half, and ultimately that led to us getting 2 points.
At the start of your midfield getting beaten in that first half?
Yeah, it was interesting, because it was a little bit of the midfield, but we were winning the clearances, so actually winning some of the contested ball around the clearance. It was more the contested ball away from the clearance. So it was our ability to probably spread to the next contest, and and forward of the ball, we weren't getting a strong enough contest on that at times, and that was just meaning that they were winning the ball back and were able to counter attack really easily. So as I say, that's been a real strength of ours throughout the year, and today it wasn't the case.
Sloan was tagged heavily by Greenwood, as we thought he would be.
Yeah, and we sort of moved him. We threw the magnets around a little bit at half time and changed some things up positionally to try and just generate some spark. And to the guys' credit, they embraced those roles, and we saw whether that was a part of them returning back, but certainly they came back on the same page at half time and reset themselves and got going in the second half.
Is it 2 points gained or 2 points lost, given the fact the way the game rolled out?
I would have thought the way the game rolled out, it was probably 2 points gained at the end. I mean, I think the way it was played, you would have suggested, as I said, Collingwood was a better team for the whole day, and so we sort of stole a couple of points at the end. Is probably how I look at it.
Does it put you feeling you're a damn good side though, to be able to come back from 50 points and almost snatch it?
Well, I think it probably gives us a feeling that we we probably know we're capable. You end up with, I mean, as I said to the players after the game, you end up with this mixed emotions. It's not only the 2 points; it's how we played. That some of the things we did in the early part of the game just weren't to the level, and how we want to play and what we want to stand for as a group. But then at 50 points down, they kept persevering and found a way to give themselves a chance. So, it's a real sort of bittersweet time when you've had a draw. But the way that draw panned out was actually quite unique as well.
Just back on McGovern, 4 goals in the second half. Did he show, out of contract at the end of the year, did he show how important he is for this footy club today?
I just think it was a good response from him. To be honest, at half time he would have been one of the players I mentioned who would have said, well, I'm not contributing to the level I need to for this team. So, as I said, there was a number of guys in that bracket and he was one, and his 4 goals in the second half were certainly helpful.
How many do you get back next week? Betts, Lever, what are their prospects?
Yeah, look, the prognosis on all those guys is pretty positive. With Eddie, Brad and Lever should all be available at this point. I mean, we're optimistic on all 3, to be honest.
I'm not sure whether you're up to. Kyle Hardikin left the ground early in the Sandful with a hammy, or have you got any?
I haven't heard. No, I haven't. We're obviously playing at the same time, so if that's the case, that'd be disappointing for Kyle. He's done a lot of work in his rehab.
And showdown, obviously.
Yep.
Look at that game now, I guess. Another big contest for you guys.
Yeah, and that's what you play for. I mean, they're great games. They always have been, and where the 2 sides are positioned on the ladder probably adds a little bit of extra to it, because the importance of wins at this time of the year in terms of ladder position and finishes is real. So great opportunity next Sunday. We've got a home game, home crowd there, and to play our local rival will be a good test.
How do you rate them, given where you are both in the ladder, obviously both pushing for top 4?
Yeah, look, they're a really strong footy team. They've shown that, and their numbers suggest that. So, I probably haven't moved straight on to Port yet, but we'll have a look at them during the week and get ourselves prepared for what will be another big game next Sunday.
Just on Sloane, obviously last week he played a great game, and then today he got tagged out of it a little bit. Can you move him around? What's your kind of thinking? Yeah,
we do a number of things with Rory, and he's had a few different roles today. I think the fundamentally, though, he'll play his best footy when he just plays. At times we've probably been guilty of complicating things for him a little bit, and that's always the challenge, is you go, well, can we do this to adjust that? And I think last week was a great example against Geelong, where he just embraced the opportunity and played and played his way and sort of dealt with it that way. So I'd have to have a look at his game in more detail today, in terms of, I know his numbers were down a little bit, but he still becomes an important player for us. And as I've said, we're not going to ride Rory Sloane into big games. He's got to play his role, but others need to contribute. And today, I think, as I said, Collingwood was stronger. And we didn't have as many contributors.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.